All right, this is Dylan Bowker with BTC Fight Promotions, BTC 9 Rampage. We're at the Odd in Kitchener, and I'm joined by a victorious Kyran Cameron. How's it going there, man?
It's going good.
Some interesting techniques in that fight for sure. I mean, there was that exchange where, he had your back initially, but you were able to scramble out, get into his guard, and then ultimately start forwarding your game plan. I mean, as much as that's rooted in technique, how much of that is also rooted in composure to sort of get out of those kind of moments?
Yeah, some would say interesting technique. I would say I was a little bit sloppy in there. I think he kind of got into some positions that I wouldn't normally like to be in. But yeah, like you said, I had to keep my composure. I had to find a way out of it. I wanted to keep him at a distance. He was able to close the distance to get me down pretty early, which I'm not too happy about. But, I'm here. I got the W.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great performance, so very minor things to learn from, if anything at all. So what did you learn from your opponent being in there? Did you get a more comprehensive sense of his skill set being in there as compared to what your preconceived notion was?
I really thought he would try to take it down because I think I definitely have the crisper striking out of the two of us. But once I got in there, I realized he's coming down from 85, and he is a pretty strong guy. He rocked me with some of those shots on the ground. So that was the number one thing, is going against probably the biggest opponent that I've faced so far, I'd say.
And getting the submission too. I mean, you got a lot of striking-based stoppages across your record and stuff like that. How satisfying was it to be able to secure the Darce and get that going there?
It's really satisfying because I was able to showcase some of my submission ability. I think up until this point, it's been mostly just my striking and my defensive Jiu-Jitsu ability, but I have a lot more that I'm ready to show in there, and this is my fourth fight, and I feel like I'm just kind of at the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, and working with the guys at Parabellum, I mean, amazing stuff. Who would you credit specifically for the refinement of the submission technique ahead of this one here? Who you're rolling with a lot?
The guys I'm rolling with, Bobby, he was just on the previous BTC. Aaron, those guys, big guys, 180, a big 70 and a big 85er. So those guys really push me every day, and they really keep me on my toes.
Yeah, for sure. A great gym man. And also, guys like Jesse Ronson have a history of coming through, a guy who's, as of now getting ready to compete in the main event tonight. What's it like to be in the room with certain guys like that and to get those kind of experiences too? Not even just on a technique level, but just imparting some wisdom and whatnot.
Yeah, it's amazing. Going into some of those sparring sessions are more nerve-wracking than some of these fights, to be honest, because I'm in there with some killers, and these are the top of the Canadian MMA fighters. So if I can survive in the room with those guys, then I feel like no one can really touch me in the cage.
And I've been noticing that all of your pro career has been with BTC. So to that point, is the next goal to be on this upcoming Burlington card in June? Are you sort of looking at that as the next step?
I want to be on all the BTC cards this year. I want to rack up a few more wins, and that 170 belt is vacant. So I see myself getting that belt wrapped around my waist after a few fights.
Is there anyone you see potentially standing opposite to you in that regard, or anyone that you could see as an opponent that could also contend for that belt? Or
I think by that point I'm ready to take on anyone in the cage. So no one specifically, but I think I'm one of the top fighters in Ontario, and I'm ready to show it.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, just a great performance out there for sure, and you've been really great with your time. I'm curious if there's anything you'd want to add kind of as a parting thought as we're wrapping up here, though, man.
If you guys like the fight, follow me on Instagram, Kyran MMA, and let's get me on the next BTC card.
BTC 10, we're looking forward a little bit, but we're enjoying the victory a little bit. It was a great win, BTC 9 Rampage. This is Dylan Bowker with BTC Fight Promotions.